Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today at your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this radio audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about manipulation of the real estate market. Now, I think as we all know, real estate has become a plaything of the big money end of town, the BlackRocks, those sort of guys. And so residential real estate is not seen as a place where people live anymore or where they bring up their families. It's seen as an investment, money churning, profit making plaything for the big finance and big property developers who pretty much own all the Western governments or what's left of them after the globalists have taken their piece of the action. So I want to talk about firstly properties for sale, and I'll look at sort of the area that I'm in, and it's not an inner city area, so it's not the area of highest demand that we see across the Western world at the moment. It's more towards the outer fringes of the city into areas where it's all national park or a lot of national park, which is the sort of lifestyle we wanted. But even so, the long tentacles of the corrupt investor class, the mass investor class, if you like, is still seen in this area. So, and to give you ideas, like give you an idea, the houses that 25 years ago could be purchased for $70,000 are being knocked out these days for $1.5 million, $2 million, that sort of thing. So it's utterly insane that the sort of prices that go for around here for places that aren't sort of that fancy, for goodness sakes. But I've noticed in the local area there was a spurt of places that were rentals that were put up for sale and were sold quite quickly, suspiciously quickly, I thought, for an area like this. They were barely put up for sale and they were sold, and for what I thought were exceptional prices that even in a bubbly sort of frothing type real estate situation, these prices were premium that they got for selling the property. So they got rid of a renter, sold the property to an investor, and it must be an investor because these properties have been vacant. So no tenant, no one in them, nothing happening, have been vacant for 6 months or longer. There's one just not far from where we are that sold in the middle of October. Nice place actually, and that's still vacant even now, and no signs that people are moving in or anything like that. So it's not being up for rent, and so what's it for? Someone's shelled out a lot of money for this, 1.6 mil or something, and 1.7, whatever it was, and yet they've got no tenant in there. The point here is that a lot of rental properties have suddenly disappeared. They've been sold to investors, and they're all, certainly the ones I'm noticing at least, they're all vacant and have been for many months. So what's going on here? An investor appears and pays absolute premium top dollar for the property, and it's going to take them a while to get their money back, even in the market as it is here. And so they've got to be money laundering. I mean, these aren't people who are watching their pennies or anything like that. Now, if it was an investor who was having to borrow money and had a cash flow issue, they'd have to put renters in there just to cover the cost of the loan repayments, or cover part of the cost of the loan. So they don't have to worry about that. And a lot of these are bigger places, like these are the 4, 5, 6 bedroom type range of place, and they're all fucking vacant, and no one in there. So now this is in this part of the world, the peak rental period begins sort of early mid-December and goes through till early February. That's the peak period, and you can usually get better prices on your rents during that time than if say you do it in the middle of winter, so July, August. So we've got a number of things happening here. Money's flowing into the area, quickly snapping up properties for absolute premium prices, and they're being taken off the rental market or off the the stock of rental properties, and they're being held off the stock. They're not being rented. And so these are people who don't have cash flow issues they need to worry about or think about. So clearly it's bigger money that's moving around. And these places aren't staying vacant for a week or two or a month or two. Again, it's 6 months, including the one recently that sold in October. That's still vacant, and others around that I've noticed. Now, these are just the ones I've noticed that I happen to see as I'm getting around the local area. But if you multiply that out amongst, they can't be the only properties in the area just because I'm noticing them in the routes I take till I go to the shop or something. So we've got to assume this is widespread. I can't be noticing the only properties in the area where that's happening. So we've got to assume that's widespread. Now, if you do a quick calculation of the number of properties that I pass to the number of properties in the area, then you're looking at a very sizable, so somewhere up to around 20% of the rental properties or potential rental properties, or what were rental properties, are being held back from rental. This artificially reduces the stock of rentals and therefore artificially pushes up the rental price as more people compete for a smaller number of properties. So this is, in my view, this is deliberate and willful market manipulation, not only of property prices, but of rental prices for a mixture of money laundering and artificially, insider trading in effect, artificially pushing up the rental price. Now, I don't believe that the government and the authorities don't know about this. I just don't believe it. And yet they do nothing, which one would assume, therefore, they're operating hand in glove with these corrupt, big finance goons that are doing this. But in my view, we need to return to a mindset that a residential property is a property that exists for people to live in. It is not an investment, as in to flip investments and to artificially pump and prop up prices and all that sort of thing. It's a place for people to live in. It's part of a quality of life contract that you have, not only with your fellow citizens, but the business sector and the community. So if Larry Fink and the dudes at BlackRock and so on, and the others, it's not just him, it's the others, want to do this diversity, equity, inclusion thing, then stop artificially pumping up the price of real estate. This is where people want to live. Giving a bullshit job to a black lesbian is not equity and diversity. Making houses and homes and rentals affordable for families and people to live in, that is diversity. And that's where I think the government should be putting their efforts. You've been attached to us today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.